He received his PhD degree just last month. He wrote his thesis on leadership and managerial effectiveness from Rāmāyaṇa. In his 11 years of monkhood, associated with the Sri Radha Govind Gopinath Temple, ISKCON, Śhubha, Mumbai, he has served in various leadership roles in communication development as well as management. Training of Deepa Champions League for ECL now on an international competition to promote deeper learning. As an author, writing books is an extension of his deep sense of responsibility towards society. He began with a monumental task of writing a series of books on Rāmāyaṇa. Since then, he has written with sellers in succession on a wide range of subjects apart from his book series Rāmāyaṇa, The Game of Life. He has also authored the bestseller Open-Eyed Meditations, Magic of Friendships, and many illustrated books for children. A total of about 30 books and many more in the pipeline. So, if you know more about refugees, you can also refer to the website Vilās.com. So, on behalf of all the devotees, welcome you to this program. So put in the input. There is an input place where you put.
Yes, so we did that.
We don't know how to figure out the setting, is it? Audio.
We did try at home, it worked.
The same thing worked at home.
I did Nagendra Balram from home on the phone.
Get assume it is some Krishna's will. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 Om Ajnantirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manavishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamriyam Dadari Swavajantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutaha Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavasya Shri Rupam Sagarjatana Sahagana Raghunatham Tam Shri Guru Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Bhagavana Sahagana Raghunatham Shri Shakha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dīnabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Saptakanchana Gauravani Radhe Krishna Vishnu Mani Hari Panchavan Madhu Krishna Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Today we are going to be speaking on a very auspicious and a beautiful section of the Ramayana, which is called Sita. The Ramayana is considered by many acharyas to be the story of Mother Sita. That is explaining that every section of the Ramayana, every part of the Ramayana, is actually about Mother Sita only. The Bal Kand of the Ramayana is about the marriage of Sita with Ram. The Ayodhya Kand of the Ramayana is about the exile of Sita with Ram. The Aranya Kand of the Ramayana is about Sita being kidnapped by Ravan. The Kishkinda Kand of the Ramayana is about the search for Sita. The Śhubha Kand of the Ramayana is about Hanuman fighting Sita. The Yuddha Kand of the Ramayana is Sita reuniting with Ram. As I explained, that actually the book should not have been named Ramayana. It should have been named Sita. Because Valmiki is a man, so he named it Ramayana. And the acharyas explain the actual name of Ramayana is Rāmāyaṇa. Rama is another name of Mother Sita. So, like this, there is great glorification of Mother Sita by the Sri Vaishnava acharyas. It is explained that when we discuss the story of the marriage of Sita and Ram, it creates a lot of auspiciousness in our lives. Unfortunately, in today's world, marriage is not considered to be auspicious as such. It's just considered to be fun, it's considered to be some kind of a responsibility. It's considered to be a necessity sometimes. In ISKCON, sometimes the grahasthas themselves make fun of marriage. Like in our temple, when somebody's marriage announcement happens, the grahasthas, they all say, "Think down well, one more in the well." So basically, it's considered to be like proud, beautiful, stuff. The way the Ramayana explains about the concept of marriage, especially the marriage of Sita and Ram, is considered to be a very auspicious and very, very important event in the life of Lord Ram and Mother Sita. In fact, in many temples in South India, including Tirupati Balaji, every single day they see the Puja. Every single day the marriage of Sita. So today we'll be discussing the story of the marriage of Sita and Ram, and it's such a beautiful story. The word Kalyana means marriage. The word Kalyana actually means auspicious. When two rivers merge, it creates auspiciousness, isn't it? When two rivers come together, wherever there's a confluence of two rivers, that place is considered to be auspicious. So here, in it is the coming together of two big legacies, and it is also considered to be auspicious. So today we will be in auspiciousness of the Lord and His divine consort by discussing the story of Sita and Ram's marriage. The story begins with Vishwamitra Muni in Siddhavishram with Ram and Lakshman. Vishwamitra Muni asked Daksharatha Maharaj to send Ram with him specifically, to make him complete his yajna. The word Vishwamitra, Mitra means friend. Vishwa means he's a friend of the world. And Vishwamitra wanted to perform a yajna for the benefit of the entire human society. And as Vishwamitra was performing this yajna with his demons, Maricha and Śhubha, among a group of their friends, they were harassing Vishwamitra like anything. And they were not allowing the yajna to be completed. So, in order to complete the yajna, Vishwamitra asked Daksharatha to send Ram with him. Finally, after a lot of discussions and all that, Daksharatha Maharaj agreed to send Ram. So when Ram went along with Vishwamitra Muni, along with Ram went Lakshman. Vishwamitra Muni didn't ask for Lakshman, but Lakshman anyway went. This is the beginning of the buy one, get one offer trade, you know. There is one. You get Ram, you get Lakshman trade, you know. Lakshman cannot live without Ram. His existence is only in the presence of Lord Ram. So Vishwamitra Muni took Ram Lakshman along with him, and they completed. The demons, Marit, Śhubha, and all their friends, they were annihilated by Ram and Lakshman. After that, the Vishwamitra Muni asked Ram a question. He said that I am going for a bow sacrifice to Mithila. Janakpur it's called. So Vishwamitra asked Ram Lakshman, do you want to come with me? Interestingly, Vishwamitra did not tell any background of why he is taking him along. Obviously, Vishwamitra Muni is a sadhu. Whenever a sadhu takes a favor from you, he gives you back much more. So Vishwamitra Muni apparently took a favor from Ram, right? Now he wants to give back something to Ram. And what more can he give back? Bigger than this gift of connecting Ram with Sita. But Vishwamitra doesn't want to tell like that to Ram, because he will think that he's already doing something. The match fixers, you know. So Vishwamitra Muni tells Ram that there is a bow sacrifice. Lord Shiva's bow is being exhibited. Ram immediately agreed. So now Ayodhya is in one corner, Siddhashram is in one corner, and Mithila is in the third corner. Mithila today is in Nepal. So it's very far away from Ayodhya. So now imagine Ram agreed to go with Vishwamitra Muni all the way from Siddhashram to Mithila instead of going back to Ayodhya. One is because of the attraction towards seeing Lord Shiva's bow. It was a very celebrated bow. For a Kshatriya young boy, seeing that bow is very important. It's like today's youngsters who are into cricket or football, you know. You tell them Ronaldo's ball is there, they will go and think to see, you know. So similarly, for a Kshatriya youngster, telling that Shiva's bow is kept there, they agreed to go. So they went all the way to Mithila, and when they entered the city of Mithila, it is explained Ram, Lakshman, and Vishwamitra Muni are entering the city of Mithila. In the city of Mithila, on top of every building in the city of Mithila were flags. Beautiful flags waving in the wind. So in those days, above every house there would be flags indicating that the center of the house is the Lord. That's the understanding. Like today, if you see many temples have flags on top, right? Before, every house had flags because in every house the center was God. Today, on top of every house is dish antenna, indicating that the center of the house is TV Maharaj. Television is like the center of the house. Obviously, everybody is glued to the television. So, the flags on top of the houses in Mithila. And Kamuni in his Rāmāyaṇa explains that the flags on top of Mithila were waving in the wind, almost as if they were hands that were welcoming her. Come, come, like that, you know. The flags were waving. And why was the city of Mithila welcoming Ram? Imagine, every house there was flag, and every flag was waving in the same direction, and they were all welcoming Ram into the city. Because Mithila was holding a jewel within it, and this jewel was a very important jewel, and the name of the jewel was Sita. And the city of Mithila wanted to hand over this jewel to somebody qualified. Many people have come in the past and tried to get Sita. But the city of Mithila has not been so inspired by anybody else. But when the city saw Ram enter, the city became inspired, started welcoming Ram, because the city wanted to hand over this jewel to Lord Ram. So Ram, Lakshmana, and Vishwamitra Muni started traveling around the city of Mithila, seeing all the beautiful sights and all the places and palaces. It is explained the city of Mithila was even more beautiful than the city of Ayodhya itself. And it was so opulent. Ram, Lakshmana, and Vishwamitra Muni were amazed by the city of Mithila and going around looking at all the places. At some point, they came across a palace, a very beautiful and a huge palace. So when they came across that palace, on top of that palace, in the balcony, Ram saw the most beautiful woman in creation. And that was Mother Sita. It is explained that Sita was so beautiful that any human being that saw Sita once, they began to curse Lord Brahma. Why? They would curse that Brahma created eyes that blinked. Because when the eyes blink, they can't see Sita, right, for that moment. So the human beings are very upset with Lord Brahma. And the demigods who would see Sita, they had eyes that never blinked. And one of the properties of the demigod is that their eyes don't blink. If you see someone around you whose eyes don't blink, you understand it's a demigod, basically. Of course, there is a difference also. For which your eyes don't blink, you have to be careful. So the demigods had eyes that didn't blink. They also cursed Lord Brahma that he only gave them 2 eyes. Not enough to see the beauty of the sea. And then Indra, who had 1,000 eyes on his body, he also cursed Brahma because even those 1,000 eyes are not enough. So that was the beauty of Mother Sita. And it explained that Mother Sita was so delicate. It explained that the sun had never seen her because she was always moved around in palanquins. And she always moved within the palace. And she had a wheel. And it's explained that Sita never walked on the ground. She wore a golden slipper. And it's explained Sita is so soft. Her body is so delicate and soft that if a leaf from a tree falls on Sita's body, wherever the leaf falls, that part of her body becomes green. Imagine how delicate and soft Mother Sita is. So when Ram saw Sita, he was mesmerized. His eyes were just stuck on Sita. When Sita saw Ram, she was also mesmerized. Usually, in the temple of Ram is anytime he sees something that he doesn't understand, Ram always asks Vishwamitra questions. All the journey, Ram was asking a lot of questions to Vishwamitra. But when he saw Sita, Ram didn't ask any question. Sometimes they don't need questions. So suddenly Vishwamitra walked away with Lakshman. And I was still looking at Sita only. The moment Ram realized that Vishwamitra is not. So, when Ram saw that Vishwamitra Muni stepped away from there, Ram immediately followed Vishwamitra. So when Vishwamitra Muni, Ram and Lakshman, they reached the center of the city of Mithila. In the center of the city, Janak Maharaj, the king of Mithila, came to receive them. So the Janak Maharaj paid his respects to Vishwamitra Muni, welcomed Vishwamitra Muni, and Janak came along with his guru Satananda Rishi. So Janak Maharaj told Vishwamitra Muni that they're having a bow sacrifice which is going to last for 12 days. So he said, can you please stay for 12 days till the completion of the bow sacrifice? So Vishwamitra Muni was very happy. So Janak Maharaj asked Vishwamitra Muni, who are these two boys? So Vishwamitra Muni introduced Rāma Lakshmana. So he explained that these are the sons of Dasharath Maharaj. So Janak became very happy when he heard that the sons of Janak Maharaj, Dasharath Maharaj had come there. Because Janak was a very close friend of Dasharath Maharaj. And when Dasharath performed the Putra Kameshti Yajna, Janak had gone there to attend the Putra Kameshti Yajna. And in fact, Janak, he saw from the sacrificial fire that Prajapati coming out with a pot of nectar and giving the pot of nectar to Dasharath. And he even saw Dasharath dividing the nectar among the queens. But after that, Janak came to know that 4 sons were born, but he never saw the sons. So Janak, when he saw Rama Lakshmana, he was amazed. He was so happy to look at them. And then Vishwamitra Muni began to glorify the greatness of Rama. He said, this Ram, he has killed Tataka. So Janak was amazed. Oh, Ram killed Tataka. He was so happy. But Satananda Rishi, there was no reaction on it. They were like, hardly bothered. So then Vishwamitra Muni told Janak and Satananda Rishi that Ram killed Marit, Śhubha and all their friends. Janak Maharaj was amazed. Marit and Śhubha were such powerful demons. But Satananda Rishi, no reaction on it. So Vishwamitra was thinking, why is he not reacting? Ram has done such big things. And then Vishwamitra Muni said something else. He said, Ram has delivered a Vilās. Just before they entered Vilās, Ram, Lakshmana and Vishwamitra Muni, they went to the ashram of Gautam, Rishi and Ahilya. And there Ahilya was the form of stone. The moment Ram put his feet on the stone, he transformed into a beautiful thing. The moment Vishwamitra said, Ram has delivered Ahilya, Satananda Rishi said, oh, he said, he was amazed. Vishwamitra Muni is thinking, what is this? I must be Tataka, no reaction. I must be Marit, so old, no reaction. But he said, it's delivered Ahilya, such a big reaction. The reason was because Satananda Rishi was a son of Ahilya and Gautam Rishi. He had seen his own mother as a stone all his life. He's a powerful sage himself, but he's not able to help his own mother. Now imagine, he has seen his mother as a stone for so many years. He has been hopeless. So when he heard Rama's delivered Ahilya, he was so happy. And then Janak Maharaj invited Vishwamitra Muni to the court. So we all went to the courtroom. When they were at the court, Vishwamitra Muni tells Janak Maharaj, can you please show Ram Lakshmana the bow of Lord Shiva? So Janak Maharaj said, before I show the bow of Lord Shiva, let me explain the uniqueness of the bow. And Janak, he tells the story of the bow. The bow of Lord Shiva was created by Vishwakarma. So many years back, Vishwakarma created 2 bows. One bow he gave to Lord Shiva, and one bow he gave to Lord Vishnu. When these bows were given to Vishnu and Lord Shiva, all the demigods they went to Lord Brahma, and they said, between Vishnu and Shiva, who is more stronger, who is more powerful? We want to know. And they said, can you create a fight between the 2 of them? Brahma said, what's wrong with you? Why are you creating fight unnecessarily? You bring people enough. So the demigod said, no, we want to know who is more stronger. Can you please create a fight? Brahma said, I'll create a fight, but the consequences you have to handle. The demigod said, no problem, we'll handle it. So Brahma went and created a fight between Vishnu and Shiva. And Lord Shiva and Vishnu started fighting using the two bows. And the fight became so intense. At some point, Lord Vishnu gave out a war cry. The war cry itself was so deafening that the demigods were literally losing their ears. They ran to Brahma and said, please, can you ask them to stop fighting? Brahma told them, I told you, not interfere. There are some people, they want to know too many things unnecessarily. This curiosity kills the cat. No? So Brahma went and told Vishnu and Lord Shiva, can you please stop fighting? And they were happy to stop. That bow which Lord Shiva used in that fight, he eventually used in a fight against the Tripurasura demons. And then eventually Lord Shiva gave that bow to a king named Devavrata. And in the dynasty of Devavrata, eventually comes Janak Maharaj. So the bow has been handed over, in Parampara. And finally, Janak has this bow, and he tells Vishwamitra that we are taking good care of this bow and worshipping this bow. It's very interesting that none of them were able to use the bow, but they were worshipping the bow. Having something is one thing, but using it is another thing. Isn't it? A lot of people have Bhagavad Gita, but how many of them actually read it? Hardly. Bhagavad Gita as it is, kept as it is. Hardly anybody reads it. So, the real understanding of Gita is when you actually use it, isn't it? Similarly, this bow Lord Shiva was kept with them. None of them know how to use the bow. It's too powerful for them, so they only make many bows. Janak Maharaj, he told his people, get the bow. 5,000 people got up. He showed the ground like, what is this? To get one bow, why 5,000 people are doing this? Whole division of the argument to a section where the bow is kept in another building. And the bow was kept on a huge cart. And this cart was drawn by 500 bulls. And 5,000 men were pushing the cart. Like this bow moved from where it was kept to the fort. It is explained that the bow was so heavy that the section of the earth where the bow was kept in the cart moved, that section of the earth felt as if its backache was removed. So heavy the bow was. Slowly they pushed it and pulled it, and somehow they got it to the boat. And as the bow was being brought into the boat, all the citizens of Mithila, they were having discussions. They were whispering on this. They said, our king has gone mad. Who keeps a condition like this for his daughter's marriage? So, Janak Maharaj kept a condition that anyone who lifts his bow can marry Sita. So, all the citizens of Mithila are saying, what is this? Who can ever lift his bow? It looks like our king doesn't want his daughter to marry him. It looks like our king is foolish. Like this, they were talking all different things. Janak Maharaj, he knew all these rumors. He obviously knew all what the people were thinking. But there was a problem that he couldn't tell anybody. The problem was when Sita was a small girl, one day she was playing with her friends. And as she was playing with her friends, the ball went below the place where the bow was kept. So Sita ran there to get the ball. She picked up the bow in her left hand. She pulled the ball out. She threw the ball and ran away. Now all the the guards that were standing over there, they literally fell unconscious. They saw. And Sita just lifted up with the left hand so easily. When the guards went and told Janak Maharaj this, he realized that his daughter is too powerful. That day he decided, whoever marries her should do it at least with the bow once. Imagine this, Sita having one thing alone, and she embraces him. What will happen to him? He will die, isn't it? So Janak Maharaj wants to ensure that at least the person who marries her gives the bow once. And then Janak Maharaj kept this story very secret. Hardly anybody will know this story. Why? If people come to know how powerful Sita is, people will get scared of marrying her, isn't it? So he just kept it under the wraps totally. And then so many kings and princes, so many powerful people came to try lifting this bow. And no matter how many of them tried, no one is able to lift it. And eventually these kings would get very upset with Janak Maharaj, and they would blame Janak Maharaj, saying that you're cheating us. You actually are just calling us to insult us. Because this bow can't be lifted only. They were like very sure. But Janak couldn't explain to anyone. And Janak, he only kept praying that he took a good decision. He only kept praying that whatever is doing in life, all of us in our life, we come across situations where there are some things that we can't tell anybody else. There are some problems that we go through in our life, and we can't share it with others. Whenever we come across problems in life that we cannot share with anyone else, at that time, take shelter of prayers. Prayers are a very powerful tool that will help you deal with some of the most powerful crises of your life that you can't share with anybody else. So Janak Maharaj, he finished this whole story, and then he tells Vishwamitra Muni, Rama Lakshmana, that if Ram lifts his bow, then he can marry Sita. Imagine, Janak uses the word if. If means what? If means, maybe. Maybe. It's a doubt. It's a sign of doubt. If Ram can lift the bow, he is not sure that Ram will lift the bow. See, when you constantly see failures in your life, constantly witness a lot of failures in your life, you lose confidence. Janak Maharaj has seen so many people fail lifting the bow that he had lost faith. Explain Ram, imagine Ram is God. Janak is telling Ram, if you can lift the bow. Ram, when he sees this bow of Lord Shiva, he turns towards his guru, Vishwamitra Muni. And he tells Vishwamitra Muni, can I see the bow? Vishwamitra Muni, he tells Ram, please go ahead, see the bow. And then Ram starts walking towards the bow. It's very interesting that when Ram starts walking towards the bow, the entire courtroom is staring at Lord Ram. The courtroom of Mithila is filled with hundreds and thousands of people there. When they see Ram walking, they are mesmerized by the confidence with which Ram walks. It is explained to the citizens of Mithila, they see 5 animals walking. That is, they see in Ram's walk something known as Vyagragati. Vyagragati means, Vyagra means tiger. The rage of a tiger, they can see in Ram's walk. They can see in Ram's walk Simhagati. Simhagati means the regal walk of a lion. Now, if you've seen a lion walk, it walks so royally, isn't it? And then they saw Gajagati, the majesty of an elephant. If you've seen an elephant walk, what a style the elephant walks in, isn't it? When the elephant walks, everybody has to move aside. Such a majestic walk it is. And then they saw Rishabhagati, the
pride of a bull. If you see a bull walk, it walks with a great amount of pride, isn't it? And then they saw Sarpagati. Sarpagati means they saw the latent energy of a snake in the walk of Lord Ram. The moment the Mithilavasis saw Ram walking towards the bow, they said, he is going to do it. Just seeing the walk of Lord Ram, they were very confident that Ram is going to lift the bow. And then all the Mithilavasis, they decided, we will not close our eyes now, because any moment, anything can happen. They kept their eyes open like this. They didn't want to miss even 1 second of what is going to happen now. Ram went all the way up to the bow of Lord Shiva. He offered his respects to the bow. He went around the bow 3 times. And then he asked his guru, Vishwamitra Muni, he said, can I touch the bow? Vishwamitra Muni said, please. So Ram bent down. He caught hold of the bow with his right hand. And then he looked at his guru, Vishwamitra Muni. He said, can I lift this bow? So you see, imagine, at every point he's asking permission from his teacher. Confidence is not enough for you to achieve success in life. Along with confidence, we also need blessings of great souls. The combination of confidence in your own ability and blessings of great soul leads to success in the most complicated and difficult endeavors. So the moment Vishwamitra Muni said, please lift the bow, in that very moment, Ram lifted the bow. It is explained that the ease with which an elephant lifts a lotus flower, that is the ease with which Ram lifted the bow of Lord Shiva. Absolutely no problem. Just lifted the bow and kept it on the ground. They explained Ram was so tall, he was 8 foot tall. And when he kept the bow on the ground, the bow was about 6 foot tall. It was a heavy, heavy bow. And Ram, he tried to string the bow. When he bent the bow to string it, the bow snapped in between. And the sound of the breaking of the bow was so loud, it practically reverberated around the whole universe. And every single person sitting in the courtroom of Mithila, they collapsed from their seats. They fell unconscious. That was the loudness of the sound. Except 3 people. Everybody else fainted. Lakshman, Vishwamitra Muni and Janak Maharaj. They were only there. Everybody else just collapsed from their seats. And the Acharyas explained that the bow snapping in between, it means many things. The 2 sides of a bow, the bow has 2 sides, right? And in the middle it is joined by a stalk. The 2 sides of the bow represents birth and death. One side represents birth and another side represents death. And the stalk in between represents the joint between birth and death. It is explained that anyone who takes shelter of Lord Ram, he is expert in breaking the bow. That means he's expert in breaking the cycle of birth and death. So just like he breaks the bow in between, similarly, when we take shelter of Lord Ram, for us, what do we do? We break the bow, break the cycle of birth and death. So Janak Maharaj was thrilled. He jumped up and he said, bring Sita. And all the friends of Sita, they ran on top to go and bring Sita. When they went to the room of Sita, the friends of Sita were amazed. You know what they saw? They saw that Sita was lost in her thoughts. They ran to her and they said, hey, you have to get married now. Somebody has broken the bow, lifted the bow and broken the bow. Sita, she was so absorbed in the thoughts of Lord Ram the previous day that she had seen, that she didn't even hear the bow being broken. Sita didn't hear it. Why? She was absorbed in thoughts of Lord Ram. It is explained that The external world, everything changes, isn't it? Everything around us keeps changing. But someone who is absorbed within, someone is absorbed in the deeper aspects of life, that person doesn't get affected by all external changes in the world. We are not so deeply absorbed, isn't it? And therefore, we get so affected by all the external changes. But just like Sita was unaffected by such a massive sound because she was so absorbed on the inside. When we chant, when we sit to chant the holy names of the Lord, one mobile notification, that's it. Our absorption is broken, isn't it? Our absorption is so fickle. It's just so weak. That's all we need to completely lose our focus. But imagine here, when the Sita was so absorbed in Lord Rama, a sound which was so loud that the entire universe heard it. She didn't hear it. She was so absorbed on an inner level. So Sita was told by her friends, and then she was dressed up, she was brought down. And as Sita was brought down, she came down with the garland, but she was very unsure whom she is going to marry, who has broken the bow, So she was just hoping it is the same person that she has seen the previous day. As Sita came down with the garland, she had a veil on her face. So from below the veil, she saw the lotus feet of Lord Ram. The first darshan Sita had of Lord Ram that day was the lotus feet of Ram. The moment she saw the feet of Ram, she said, "This is the same person." She was absolutely sure. And now she was convinced that she wants to marry him. At that time, Ram spoke. And he said, "I cannot marry unless my father Dasharath Maharaj permits." When Janak Maharaj heard that, he was shocked. Imagine, one person had finally lifted that bow. And that one person is saying that I can't marry, And now the bow is broken. So Janak Maharaj was in great anxiety. He didn't know what to do. He was in so much anxiety. He ran to Vishwamitra Muni to tell him, "What is this?" And in that particular section, it is explained that just like a sick child runs to his mother, similarly, Janak Maharaj ran to Vishwamitra Muni, asking, "What do I do now?" And Vishwamitra Muni was very calm. And he told Janak Maharaj, "Don't worry. Ram never said he will not marry. He only said he will not marry till Dasharath Maharaj permits. Just get the permission of Dasharath Maharaj and he will marry." So Janak was a little, calm after hearing that. And then immediately, messengers were sent to Ayodhya to talk to Dasharath Maharaj. In the meanwhile, imagine Sita's situation there. He's come here standing with a garland. And she is happy to marry this person also, And Ram is saying, "I don't want to marry." Wars have been fought over Sita's beauty, isn't it? Thousands of people were trying to marry her, but now she wants to marry someone. And that person is saying, "I don't want to marry." When Sita heard those words of Ram, she was even more convinced that I want to marry him only. Because a woman looks for three things in a man to give her life, to dedicate her life to him. The first thing a woman looks for in a man is the ability to protect. The previous day, when Sita had seen the broad shoulders of Lord Ram, she knew this person can protect me. And today, he has broken the bow. He lifted such a massive bow. Sita was convinced that, Ram can take care of her. The second thing a woman looks for in a man is more important than the first thing. The second thing she looks for is the ability to communicate. A woman's world and a man's world are different. Let me tell you a simple example to help you understand this. When a man is in problem, when a man goes through a difficulty, the way he solves the problem is by thinking. When a woman is in difficulty, the way she solves the problem is by talking. Suppose a man comes home, very lot of anxiety about something that happened in the office. And because he is so much stressed out, he comes and he's thinking. The woman goes to him, the wife goes to him and asks him, what happened? Is everything okay? Can I help you in some way? The man immediately feels that I can't take care of myself. So she is thinking that I can't solve my own problem. So she has to solve it for me. He becomes even more quiet. He starts thinking even more. When the woman sees that he's not speaking at all, he's thinking so much. Now she is convinced that the problem is really big and she has to help him with it. So she asks him, please tell me. And this fellow becomes even more quiet. When a woman goes through a problem, the first thing she does is she goes and talks to 10 people. Because when she talks to many people, she feels that she'll find a solution to the problem. But when a man goes through a problem, the first thing he does is he stops speaking, he starts thinking. The biggest need for a woman from a man, the biggest thing that she wants from a man is ability to express clearly what he is thinking. Unfortunately, most men don't have the ability to express themselves. And therefore, when Sita saw Ram speaking, he said, this person can express himself clearly. I want him only. Though he said, I don't want to marry, that's what he expressed, but at least he expressed clearly. For Sita, this is very important. The first thing a woman looks for in a man is the ability to protect. The second thing is the ability to express. And the third thing a woman looks for in a man is the ability to control himself. As I said, wars have been fought over Sita's beauty. Thousands of people have been dying to marry Sita. Demigods are trying to marry Sita. And here is someone who is actually qualified to marry Sita, and he's saying no. Isn't it self-control? Isn't it solid ability to control himself? So Sita said, all the three qualities are there in this person. I want to marry him only. It's very interesting how Ram thinks about it. Marriage is not a marriage of two individuals. Marriage is a marriage of two legacies, two families coming together. Just like in a river, there are many drops of water, right? So similarly, in a family, there are many, many individuals. And when two rivers merge together, there is many, many drops of water merged together. Similarly, when two people get married, it is actually two families that are merging together, two legacies that are connecting together. And that creates what is known as auspiciousness for Kalyana. So, the messengers of Janak Maharaj, they reach Ayodhya and they meet Dasharath Maharaj. And Vishwamitra has trained the messengers how to speak to Dasharath. He doesn't want it to seem to Dasharath that Vishwamitra already had decided everything. And this is already prefixed event and he can't take a decision. So Vishwamitra trained the messengers what to tell. So the messengers first went and started glorifying Ram. They said Ram has done this, Ram has done that. He glorified all the things, killing of Tatakara, Mari, Subhahu, everything else. And then finally they say that, by the way, Ram, Lakshmana, Vishwamitra Muni went to Mithila. By the way means what? It's not by the way, right? How can you, like if you go by the way, you miss one street and go to another street, you can say by the way I reached there. But you use one country to another country, they have gone, basically, literally. Very long distance. But Vishwamitra didn't want to convey it as if it is a prefixed thing, basically. So by the way, they went to Mithila. And over there, Ram saw that bow and lifted the bow and broke the bow of Lord Shiva. Dasharath said, oh, my son did it. I also heard the sound of the breaking of the bow. Imagine, Ayodhya, Dasharath heard the sound of the breaking of the bow. And then after narrating all this, the citizens, the messengers of Janak Maharaj said that Janak had kept a condition that anyone who lifts that bow gets to marry Sita. So Janak has now proposed that Ram marry Sita. So then Dasharath immediately looks at his guru Vashishta. Vashishta immediately agrees. And Dasharath declares that there is going to be the marriage of Sita and Ram in Mithila. And everyone in Ayodhya is invited for the marriage of Sita and Ram. And Dasharath Maharaj himself proceeds ahead. And is explained, Dasharath goes right in the front of the procession. And then hundreds and thousands of Ayodhya Vasis are following Dasharath Maharaj to go for the marriage of Sita and Ram. It is explained, Kamba in his Kamba Rāmāyaṇa explains very beautifully that the procession of the to attend the marriage ceremony of Ram was so huge that when the first person reached Mithila, the last person was still in Ayodhya. Imagine how many people went. Thousands of people went from Ayodhya to Mithila to attend the marriage of Sita and Ram. So when Dasharath Maharaj reached Mithila, Janak, the king of Mithila, came to receive Dasharath on the outskirts. Dasharath and Janak Maharaj embraced each other. They were best of friends. And it is explained that Dasharath was the king of the solar dynasty, Suryavansh. And Janak was the king of the lunar dynasty, Chandravansh. And when Dasharath and Janak embrace each other, it is almost like the sun and moon are embracing each other. And everyone was so happy. Janak told Dasharath Maharaj that your son Ram has fulfilled my condition for the marriage by lifting that bow. Now you tell me, what is your condition for the marriage? And Dasharath Maharaj gave a very interesting answer. He said, I am like a beggar. When a beggar is given some charity, the beggar doesn't choose. Whatever he is given, he accepts gratefully. So he says, you are giving us Sita. That is enough. I don't want anything from you. Of course, ideally, beggars should not have expectations, isn't it? But in America, beggars are they have more attitude than regular people, isn't it? Even in India nowadays, you give a beggar 1 rupee, they will throw it back at you. They'll say, what is this? So here, Dasharath and Janak Maharaj, they come together and they're so happy. The next day, there is a courtroom, an open court in Mithila, where all the Ayodhya Vasis are there, the prominent citizens, and all the Mithila Vasis are there, the prominent citizens. And in that assembly, there is a discussion of the dynasties. So Dasharath Maharaj and Vashishta, his guru, they explain about the Suryavansh dynasty. And in this description, in this discussion, there is every single great king in that dynasty, their names mentioned and their qualities and greatness mentioned. Talks about Ranti Dev, Shivi Maharaj, Kutsa, Raghu Maharaj, so many great souls in the dynasty of Dasharath Maharaj. And the dynasty of Dasharath Maharaj is very impressive. And then Janak and his guru Satananda Rishi start talking about the dynasty of Janak's kingdom. And such details are given about each of the dynasties. Now you might wonder, if you study the Śhubha Bhagavatam, study any of the scriptures, there is always mention of dynasties there, right? Elaborate mention of dynasties. Now, why are dynasties mentioned so much in detail? The reason is, a little of what we are today is based on who our ancestors were in the past. Every single human being today is a byproduct of who our ancestors were in the past. The Śhubha Bhagavatam, the Rāmāyaṇa, all our scriptures acknowledge the contribution of ancestors in our lives. And when we acknowledge the contribution of our ancestors, that actually preserves greatness of the legacy. So then Janak Maharaj's legacy was being described. A very beautiful description was given. And eventually, Janak Maharaj describes the birth of Sita. And he describes how Sita was born at the tip of the plow. Janak, while he was plowing the field, During the plowing of the field, Janak discovers this golden box in which Sita was found. So Sita has many names because of the way she was born. Because she was found in the earth, she was known as Bhumi Suta. And because she was found at the tip of a plow, the plow is called Sita. And the one who is born at the tip of the plow is called Sita. She's also called Ayonija. Ayonija means she was not born from the womb of a regular mother, but she was born from the earth. So like this, Sita has many names. So the dynasties of both the families are discussed in elaborate details. After the discussion of the dynasties, suddenly Vishwamitra Muni and Vashishta, they go aside and they're talking very animatedly to each other. Now when the Dasharath Maharaj and Janak Maharaj and all that people, they see Vishwamitra and Vashishta talking to each other elaborately, and in such an animated way, they are amazed. You know why? Because the Vashishta and Vishwamitra Muni, they were the original Tom and Jerry. Just like Tom and Jerry, they're always trying to kill each other, right? So actually Vashishta and Vishwamitra Muni, they were literally enemies. They were about to kill each other. But the citizens are amazed. How come such bitter enemies they're together like this? Simply because both of them are united by Ram. Their love for Lord Ram is united both of them. Just like two bricks, you put them together, they won't stick together. But you put them together and put cement between them, then they actually stick with each other. So Ram is like the cement that holds such powerful people like Vashishta and Vishwamitra together. So finally they had their discussion and both of them come in the assembly and they say, we have a proposal. Our proposal is that why not marry the 4 brothers to the 4 sisters? Sita has 3 more cousins, one own sister and 2 cousins. So Vishwamitra and Vashishta suggested that Lakshman marry Urmila, who is the own sister of Sita. Bharat marries Mandavi, who is the cousin sister of Sita. Sita's father is known as Kshiradwaja Janak. And Sita's uncle is known as Kushadwaja Janak. And the daughters of Kushadwaja Janak are Mandavi and Shrutakirti. And Shatrughna marries Shrutakirti. That is the proposal that they give. So for one moment, Dasharath, Janak, and both the Janaks, they thought a bit and they looked at their gurus and they immediately agreed. And then the 4 boys or the 4 girls, they were looking at each other and they were so happy. And suddenly now one marriage has become 4 marriages. And all the citizens of Ayodhya and Mithila, they were so happy and so thrilled with the possibility of this marriage the next day. The next day is the marriage ceremony. So during the marriage ceremony, all the citizens of Ayodhya and Mithila, they were so happy. And they were looking at Sita and Ram with such love and such affection in their eyes. It is explained, the eyes of the citizens of Mithila and Ayodhya, they were fighting with each other. Whom to see? Should we see Sita more? Should we see Ram more? Sometimes the 2 eyes will look at Ram and then they would immediately look at Sita. Sometimes they would get so confused that they would want to look at both of them. Then one eye is looking at Ram and one eye is looking at Sita. And then they were so confused that they closed their eyes. When they would close their eyes, they would find Sita and Ram in their hearts. So like this, the citizens of Ayodhya and Mithila, they were enjoying the beauty of Sita and Ram. One citizen of Ayodhya said, Ram actually needs 1,000 eyes to enjoy the beauty of Mother Sita. Another citizen said, actually, Ram needs 1,000 eyes added every moment because Sita's beauty increases every moment. So like this, they were glorifying the beauty of Sita and Ram in such amazing ways. The Lord is known as Aparyamrita. This is one of the names of the Lord. The word Aparyamrita means the one whose beauty increases day by day. obviously all of us, our beauty decreases. That is why we take so many selfies and keep, so that we can keep looking at it again and again as our beauty decreases. So, but the Lord, as a day progresses, as the number of years progress, God becomes more and more beautiful. We actually look at deities, very, very years old deities. Every year you go and look at them, they look more beautiful than the previous year. So, like this, the marriage of Sita and Ram was, a ceremony was taking place. And then finally, Janak Maharaj comes, he picks up the hand of Sita and places the hand of Sita over the hand of Ram, indicating that from now onwards, Ram is under the care of Sita. It is not that Sita is under the care of Ram. Janak is saying, Ram is now under the care of Sita. And then Janak Maharaj, he tells Ram, this is your Sita. Now, why does he say this is your Sita? It's obvious this is his Sita, right? Janak Maharaj understands what is going on in Ram's life. So Ram is so mesmerized by the beauty of Sita that everywhere he can see Sita only. So Janak Maharaj is saying, don't put garland on somebody else because you will see you're seeing Sita everywhere. He says, this is your Sita. And then he tells Ram that Sita will be like your shadow. So if you actually study shadow is always connected to the feet of a person, isn't it? The interesting thing about a shadow is that when sun is in front of you, shadow is behind you. But when sun is behind you, the shadow is in front of you, isn't it? So Janak is telling Ram, Sita is like a shadow. When the sun of prosperity is in front of you, she will be behind you. She will follow you. But when the sun of adversity is behind you, when you go through problems and difficulties in life, Sita will go ahead of you and she will lead you. That's exactly what happens, isn't it? Sita first goes to Lanka and then Ram comes. So Sita always leads the way, paves the way for Ram's progress. And then Janak Maharaj tells Ram, she is Dharmacharini Tava. What is the meaning of Dharmacharini Tava? That means as long as you follow the path of Dharma, she will follow you. But if you deviate from the path of Dharma, she will correct you. Like that, Janak Maharaj tells about Sita and hands over Sita to Ram. Finally, Ram instantly he takes this Eka Patni Vrata, that very moment. Eka Patni Vrata. The moment he takes Eka Patni Vrata, all the girls of Ayodhya become very happy. Why? Because the previous king, Dasharath Maharaj, had many wives. So in Ayodhya, all the men would also marry multiple times. Because the king was, like that. And now with the king, with the new king, the going to be king, taking Eka Patni Vrata, the girls of Ayodhya are thinking very good. Now none of the men can say that we will marry multiple times. So like this, the marriage of Sita and Ram is about to take place. And then Ram, he puts the garland around Mother Sita. So when Ram puts the garland around Mother Sita is also wanting to garland Ram. But as I said, Ram is 8 feet tall and he doesn't know how to bend. So he's standing like that. Sita is not able to reach him. And Ram doesn't even know that he's supposed to bend. So Sita is confused and Ram is not bothered over here. And Lakshman realizes that this is a crisis. So Lakshman, he comes running and he catches hold of the feet of Lord Ram. As soon as Ram sees Lakshman holding his feet, Ram bends down to pick up Lakshman. That time Sita puts the garland around Ram. That is how the marriage of Sita and Ram takes place. And then the other 3 brothers get married to the other 3 sisters. And then all of the citizens of Ayodhya and Mithila, they rejoice so much in the marriage of these 4 brothers with the 4 sisters. As I said, the marriage of Sita and Ram is a very auspicious event. And whenever and wherever the marriage of Sita and Ram is discussed, that place becomes auspicious. So we are all very, very fortunate that we are able to hear the glorious marriage of Sita and Ram. They explained that anyone who hears the glorious marriage of Sita and Ram, in their life, we invoke the blessings of the divine couple Sita and Ram, and in their life comes a lot of auspiciousness and a lot of prosperity. So with this, I'll end the narration of the marriage of Sita and Ram. I pray that all of you receive the blessings of Sita and Ram, the divine couple, and your spiritual life goes through so much prosperity. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Any questions, comments, please? Yes.
Yes, curious to know why Vishwamitra and Vasishtha are enemies.
That is a long story. The first chapter of the first book of my series, Rāmāyaṇa Game of Life, has 2 entire chapters on this. You can go through that and you'll get more ideas. But in essence, there was a misunderstanding, because of which led to more misunderstandings. It kind of increased, and it became big and big. Anything else? Yes, bro.
Thank you again, once again, for the wonderful class. You explained about the meanings of names yesterday. You also explained the meaning of Mithila and Janak.
So, there was a king named Nimi Maharaj, who was the founder of Mithila, Janakpur, basically. So, this king Nimi, he wanted to conduct a yajna, and to conduct the yajna, he invited Vasishtha Muni, to come and conduct the yajna. So, of course, the same Vasishtha who now is the guru of Lord Ram, many centuries back, actually thousands of years back, he was the guru of Nimi Maharaj. So Vasishtha lives forever. It's like a very, very long life. So Nimi invited Vasishtha to do the yajna for him. Vasishtha agreed. But on the date of doing the yajna, when the prescribed date was there, Vasishtha had to go to the heavens at the same time, to yajna in the heavens. Vasishtha chose that over this. He thought Nimi is his disciple, he'll wait for him. But when Vasishtha came back from the heaven, he saw Nimi already had done the yajna with somebody else. Vasishtha got very angry at his disciple Nimi, and he said, "You didn't wait for me also. I had agreed for doing the yajna. Why did you wait for me?" Nimi said, "See, time was going. It was an auspicious moment. And he said, you went to the heaven too, because you will get more money over there. And now you expect me to wait over here." And Vasishtha got very upset with Nimi. He said, "I curse you that you will die." And Nimi said, "It is not my fault. You didn't come on time. So I curse you that you will die." Disciple and Guru both cursed each other and both died. So then the Brahmanas, they spoke to Vasishtha and Nimi, the souls of Vasishtha and Nimi. They said, "See, whatever you all have done, but we need both of you all. Just say yes, you want to come back to life. We will bring you all back to life. You have to just say yes." Vasishtha said yes. And Nimi said no. He said, "I am done in my life. I have done whatever I need to do. Now I want to go back to the spiritual world." So Nimi, he was not interested in his body. And what the Brahmanas did was, they churned the body of Nimi. And from the churning of the body of Nimi was born a king. So the person who was born from the churning of the body of Nimi was known as Mithi Janak. Mithi comes from the word Manthan. Manthan means churning. And Janak means to be born. So someone who is born from the churning was known as Mithi Janak. So from that time onwards, everyone in that discipline, in that parampara, in that lineage, came to be known as Janak, as a surname, or rather as a title, basically. And the first names are different. So because Mithi Janak was the first Janak in that kingdom, the kingdom came to be known as Mithila, the one who is born from journey of the Maharaj. Because Nimi was not at all interested in his body. He overcame the bodily concept of life. From that point onwards, Nimi got another name, which was Vaideha. Deha means body, and Vaideha means the one who has gone beyond the body. So anyone who is born in the dynasty of Nimi Maharaj came to be known as either Vaideha or Vaidehi. And that is how Sita got the name Vaidehi also. So this is the background behind how Mithila got its name and how Janak got its name.
So, what was the names of Janak and his brother? Okay.
Yeah. So Janak, the Sita's father, his name was Shiradwaja Janak, and his brother's name was Kushadwaja Janak.
Like Dwaja means flag.
Yeah. Yes.
So you mentioned that sometimes when we need to keep like emotions within us, it's good to engage in prayer since that helps us, like keep those, like get rid of the anxiety. But then as you mentioned that it's not also a good idea to bottle up emotions inside ourselves. So like, which would you say is better? Try to pray in order to like keep ourselves from getting anxious, or to just kind of release the floodgates, so to say, and like let our emotions go and like try to speak to someone who can understand them in a better.
Both are important, but both have its own place. There are sometimes you can express to others. There are sometimes things that are so private and so personal that you may not want to express to others. Maybe others may not be able to understand you, or maybe it's too embarrassing for you to share, or maybe it's also something that is very what do you call it, secretive or confidential. Depends. So whenever you are in a situation where you can express yourself to someone, that's great, that's wonderful. It's much easier also, and as you said, it relieves a lot of anxiety because you get guidance, you get some direction. But when you come across situations where you are not able to express due to whatever reason, that's when we take shelter of prayers wholeheartedly. Of course, even when you are able to express to others, you still need to take shelter of prayers because not everybody can actually help you, right? I mean, people can probably just give you some guidance, but actual help, not everyone can actually help you. You still need prayers. Okay. Anything else? Any other questions or comments? Yes.
You mentioned in the scriptures, age around
12.
when
He went to the age of 12.
also you were married.
Ram was married at the age of 12 to Sita, and Sita technically is mentioned to 6 years of age. So of course, in those days, the concept of marriage is very different from what we know of today. Let me explain, how we understand this. There are many ways to understand. One of the ways is this: in the previous eras, a boy and girl they would be married much before they reach like the age of puberty. Why? Simply because as you grow together, you start developing love and affection for each other. So before, the idea would be that they would be married much earlier, but they wouldn't stay together. They would be married and they would go back to their own family and stay. But during festivals, they would come together. And typically the mother would tell her daughter, go and give him laddu. So the girl would go and give her husband laddu. So like this, little by little, by serving, by meeting each other during festivals, during events, slowly the affection would increase. And they would initially just serve each other, at a distance. And at that age, feelings are not there. But as you grow older, and when feelings arise, the feelings arise towards that person, basically. So that's the concept of child marriage. Initially, so similarly in our own life, just take, look at it from a devotional point of view. When we offer bhoga to the Lord, when we offer, arati to the Lord, when we chant the holy names of the Lord, we don't have any feelings, isn't it? But we do it just as a ritual. We are told by our teacher, go and do this. We won't do this. We are told, go and offer flower. We go and offer flower. So we are small in our devotion. We are not mature in our devotion, and we don't have feelings towards the Lord. But as we keep serving, at one point we develop the maturity. And at that point, when the feelings develop, the feelings will develop towards the Lord only. So that's the whole connection. So if you look at it from this perspective, one is in those days, the idea of emotional maturity was much, much faster. So though Ram was 12, his maturity was probably somebody who was in 25, 30, like that, from the point of view of development, basically. So similarly with Sita, though she seemed to be small, but in her development, she was much, much beyond that particular age group. This is my understanding.
I've heard some people say that Sita was older than Ram, but I didn't say
This is what I've some of us acharyas still. It's impossible. Anything else? Any other? Yes.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you for the wonderful class. My question is like yesterday you mentioned the past and was actually thinking about why Ram was telling why he was actually upset. Like what's the takeaway for us in family person? How I can calmly the situation and like whenever I'm in that situation I'm about to react.
Yeah. Hey, the simple thing is, whenever you're about to react because of something that somebody else has said, you first ask yourself, this person who is in front of me, how much has he done for me? What has he brought in the relationship? So if that person has invested a lot in the relationship, made a lot of sacrifices for the relationship, invested a lot of energy in the relationship, I think it's important that we acknowledge that also, rather than just focusing on that one, negative comment he has passed, or one negative thing that he has done. So being cognizant of all that that person has done for us, he or she, it's an expression of gratitude, basically. It's very human to at least acknowledge that this person has done so much for me. Anything else? Yes.
Thank you for the class. I have a question. You said when in very young age when they married, they'll both go to their families. Like in Rama's marriage, he took Sita after the marriage was. So I'm like.
Yeah. So. You guys are getting married now, okay? So what I said, both are right, okay? The in Treta Yuga, when they get married, they would actually go together and stay together. But in later yugas, like Kali Yuga is 5,000 years already, right? In the beginning of Kali Yuga, when marriages would happen, it would happen like this, where they would stay separately. Because Kali Yuga maturity is much lesser. It takes a longer time to become mature. Right? In Kali Yuga, what happens is by 30, people become a little mature. In 20 is nothing, no maturity is there only. So then if you get married and when you're very small, then you end up fighting with each other, isn't it? So you will become a little older. That's what it is. Okay. Kids are very smart. Yes, anything else? Yes.
So I have a follow-up question about the previous point about having strategy. So sometimes, even though the other person would have deposited a lot in that relationship, sometimes like negative comments or things like that happen regularly, and it's really hard to be cognizant or like hit the pause button and think back. So if it happens like 1 or 2 times, I feel like it's more easier, but then if it keeps happening regularly, it's more challenging. So what would be your suggestion in that case?
So what happens is, in the initial phase of a relationship, people look at good in others. But as the relationship goes over many phases, you start looking only at bad in others. When you start looking at bad in others, it's very obvious to find bad, because the initial phase you can't see bad, right? And people are expert in hiding the bad also, in the beginning stage. But over a period of time, you come to know very clearly that there is a lot of bad qualities in a person. So at that point, you have two options. You have to ask yourself a simple question: is this person weak, or is this person a demon? There's a difference between weakness and being a demon, right? Demons are exploitative. There's an element of exploitation. There's an element of wrong intentions. There's an element of actual badness in a person. If you come across demons in your life, please walk away. Please walk away. But the possibility of you finding demons is very rare. Mostly we find weak people. Who are weak people? Weak people are typically like patients in a hospital. So if you find a cancer patient, they behave very strangely, isn't it? There's so many complicated issues, they're vomiting, this, that. They also sometimes badly, even there's chemotherapy happening. You can't handle their emotions and all. So now you can't get angry on them. Why? They're patients. And a patient takes time to get all right. Now you have to decide whether you're dealing with a patient or you're dealing with a demon. If you feel you're dealing with a demon, then you walk away. But if you feel you're dealing with a patient, then you have to become a little more patient also. Isn't it? Because the patient is important. So now, unfortunately, what happens is we don't have the patience for people to get all right. So if somebody has cough and cold, they become all right fast. But if somebody has cancer, it takes them probably a lifetime to get all right. So we have to deal with it. Okay.
Thank you.
Yes.
Just a little follow-up question. What are some ways we can identify demons? Because sometimes people may not seem to be who they are. So what would you say is like a few easy ways we can identify the demons from the weak?
Observation is the best way to identify people. So what happens is, for intention to become clear, intention cannot be clear in one meeting or one interaction. Intentions become clear over a period of time. So you have to, of course, in the beginning of any relationship, you have to give benefit of doubt. You can't start with the assumption that everybody is demon. You have to start with the assumption that people are good. And then over a period of time, if you repeatedly keep getting the same message or the same feeling, then you can conclude that somebody is a demon. Simple things. High levels of selfishness and insensitivity. Very, very manipulative spirit. Very, very duplicitous behavior. These are all signs of demonic qualities. Yes.
Obviously, a general question. Thank you very much for the narration. It was helpful. So I remember you mentioned Rāmāyaṇa. So which Ramayans, like there are multiple versions, like Valmiki Rāmāyaṇa, also heard Rāmāyaṇa from North India. So have you studied multiple
Yeah.
multiple sources and sometimes you find a little differences here and there.
So,
Whatever you can share on that.
yeah.
Thank you.
So what I have done is I have studied many Ramayans, which includes Valmiki Ramayana, obviously is the base. I've studied Kamba Ramayana also, which is Tamil poetry. I've studied Tulsidasa's Ramayana also, which is in Awadhi. So essentially all of them are same. Because all the Ramayans that are there in the world are based on Valmiki only. But the flavors vary based on who the author is and what is the intention behind writing also. So Kamba is a amazing devotee from South India. When Kamba wrote his Ramayana, in one section in Kamba Ramayana, there is a description of Nrsimhadev. So the Shiva Vaishnavas, when they saw Kamba writing the Ramayana and suddenly Nrsimhadev is coming in Ramayana, they say this is not authentic at all. How did Nrsimhadev come in between, So Kamba, what he does is he goes to Srirangam. So he is based on Srirangam basically. There's a Nrsimhadev temple in Srirangam. I don't know if any of you have gone there, So in the back of Ranganath temple, there is a Nrsimhadev temple. So he sat in front of Nrsimhadev temple and he narrated his Ramayana to Nrsimhadev, basically. And when he reached this section where he brings in Nrsimhadev into the Ramayana, Nrsimhadev raises his hand like this. The deity raises his hand. And when the Shiva Vaishnavas see that, they get totally bewildered. Even today, if you go there, there's a section, there's a place known as Kamba Mandap. That is where Kamba sat and narrated. And if you go and have darshan and sing there, his hand is like this. So from that day onwards, Shiva Vaishnava accepted Kamba Ramayana as authentic. So, like this, there are a couple of versions of Ramayana that are authentic. So typically, the way I have studied at least is Valmiki is my base of studying the Ramayana. And then I studied Kamba Ramayana, and then many of Shiva Vaishnava commentaries on both Valmiki Ramayana as well as Kamba Ramayana I've studied. And in addition to that, I've also studied Tulsidasa's Ramcharitamanas. And from the Manas, I've taken out analogies, which are poetic expressions that are in alignment with Valmiki Ramayana. So I have kept my base as Valmiki only, but I have taken poetic expressions from Kamba and Tulsidas and commentaries of Acharyas to analyze different aspects of the Ramayana. And in addition to this, I've also added Lokapraman, some folk tales that are in philosophical alignment with Valmiki Ramayana. In addition to all this, I've added background stories from Puranas. Because there are many stories in the Ramayana which are not in the Ramayana directly, but which have a Puranic reference. Like for example, every character in the Ramayana, who they are, there are some Puranic references. That is not there directly in the Valmiki Ramayana. So like this, I put together all of this. In addition, I've added life lessons, which we can use the Ramayana. What this whole series is about. Basically, instead of a person reading hundreds of books to figure out how to put it all together, I've done all that. You have to, it's like cooking the sweet rice, adding kaju badam, adding kishmish in it, adding kesar in it. The only thing you have to do is eat it. That's all. All the hard work I've already done. So it's a combination of all of that. Thank you. Anything else? Great. Very, very happy and grateful to be here with all of you all. It's a pleasure to be here with you all. On Sunday, when we meet again, I'll be speaking from Sundarkanda of the Ramayana. And Sundarkanda of the Ramayana is one of the most amazing sections of the Ramayana. And it's a section that will really touch your heart. And through the Sundarkanda of the Ramayana, I'm going to be talking about the journey of a sadhaka, journey of a spiritual practitioner, how one achieves perfection of one's life. So we are going to talk about Hanuman's journey. Along with Hanuman's journey, it will be a discussion about our own journey also. Okay. Yes.
You will 2 classes on Sunday.
Yeah, I'll give 2 classes on Sunday. So the Sunday feast will be Sundarakand. The morning.
Sunday feast is in the morning.
Sunday feast is 11:30.
Oh, Sunday feast is morning. Okay. The evening is that in devotee's house.
His place.
In your place. Yes. Super. So morning I'll do Sundarakand. Okay. Evening, let's see what I'll do. I'll decide on in the morning. I'll announce in the morning what I'll do in the evening. But I'll do something from the Ramayana. Something nice. Okay. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much for the great explanation of what you said.
Absolutely.
Thank you, devotees, now for your session. We will serve us on.
Shall we take a